Hey guys, Dijon here from Trend Watchers, and today we have a great video prepared for you guys titled YouTube's Book of Law. And really what we're going to be covering is just we're going to first understand that YouTube is a business and how it serves its customers. That is really important if you're looking to succeed on YouTube. We need to understand how it works and why does it rank videos in the position that they rank the videos at. Then next we're going to uncover YouTube's biggest problem, and then to figure out that problem we're going to take a look at Google search. Just kind of do some comparison between the two, and then by doing that, that's going to reveal to us kind of like the secret variable between the two platforms. And then after that, we're going to go over the role of feedback loops, and then we're going to show you guys how to exploit YouTube's Book of Law for exponential growth on your YouTube channel. So we got a lot of stuff to cover in this video. We're not going to be doing any like uploading or planning like using trends yet. Before we do that, I think it's important that we understand how YouTube works first, which is why I made this video first in the training series. But yeah, let's hop right into it. So if you guys don't know, YouTube and Google, they're kind of like in the same company. They're owned by Alphabet right here, and as you can see, Alphabet, it has its own stock trading at just under $1,300 at the time of this screenshot right here. And as you guys all know, this is a company, and companies, they want to make money, and especially if they have a stock, not only are they looking to make money, but they're also making to make their investors money to keep them happy, so money is a big factor. Now, one of the things that can affect this money is like random occurrences like this right here. Pretty sure you guys remember this. This is Logan Paul, and I believe it was back in January 2017 or 18. I forgot what year it was, but Logan Paul, he posted a video showing a dead body in a Japanese forest, and because of that caused a lot of controversy, and a lot of people were outraged, and eventually they went to YouTube. And when the public and the media starts hammering on YouTube, YouTube has to start making some changes, because if the public's mad, they're going to be mad at the advertisers advertising on YouTube, especially on this video. Then the advertisers, they pull back their like their big bucks on the YouTube platform. Now YouTube is losing money, so YouTube is kind of forced to take action, and in the end it just hurts the creators, and then the government comes involved. And as you can see, like this situation just benefits nobody right here. So YouTube, it hates the situation right here. And when you think about it, YouTube is a pretty big platform. I mean, we're talking about like 100 hours of video uploaded every minute. So when it comes to like keeping everyone happy, and at the same time like preventing stuff like this from arising, it's gonna be that's gonna be a really tough task, especially with like this much content being uploaded every minute. So right off the bat, you already see the problem with YouTube, right? So how does YouTube solve this? Well, I think the best way to answer this question is to actually look at Google first, because if they're both the same, they're both owned by the same company, so they probably run things kind of similarly. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at Google search and kind of figure out how they manage I believe it's over like 1.5 billion websites. Now that's a lot of websites to consider right there, and really just going through them, filtering out the good and the bad ones, that is a pretty big task. So we first need to understand kind of like how Google search like goes through all of these right here. And once we kind of figure out that whole process, we want to look over to YouTube and kind of see how I guess like how they're both similar, and what we can learn from the two platforms right there. So you're probably wondering, like, how does Google manage this? It manages this by a number of things right here, and a number of things. It's like you have your backlinks. Backlink is basically like you have like two websites, right? You have I guess like your website, and there's like a bunch of other websites as well in Google. It really determines. I guess it's almost like social proof, So let's say like a credible news source, let's say like the New York Times. They post a link. They post my website link on one of their articles, right? Google's gonna see that the New York Times is kind of like it has a link on their website pointing to mine, so that's kind of like some credibility. It's giving my website some credibility, and because of that, Google's gonna rank my website a bit higher because it sees me as more trustworthy. I kind of have more credible sources behind my backs. That's kind of what backlinks is there. Another thing Google does is kind of like how old the domain is. Like if your domain has been registered for like 10 years, 5 years, 6 years, 7 years, and especially if you had some content on there, it's really going to favor you, because people are looking to do harm. They look to do harm in the short term, not really the long term. So older domains that have been registered, especially with content on there, they tend to do better. Also how much content you have. Like Google, it'll rank stuff that's higher for people that have like articles that have 2,000 to 3,000 words in them, and also social signals, like how many shares does it have, how many comments does it have, how many Facebook shares does it have, how many Twitter retweets did it get, Twitter likes, all that good stuff right here. And there's a lot more things that go into this, but these are some of the things Google search does to kind of filter between the good and the bad websites for every single search out there. And when you think about that, that is a gigantic task. And just by looking up this little chart right here, you I guess you can already kind of see some of the things that it uses for YouTube as well. So that's just something to really put in your mind there. But there's also one more thing called the sandbox period. Now the sandbox period, Google search, they won't really come out and say, hey, this is an actual thing and here's a guy to get around it. This is kind of like a quote-unquote theory, and this theory was created by a bunch of like SEO experts and professionals. And every time they start like a brand new website, they notice that like in the first 6 to 12 not 6 to 12 months, but like 3 to 6 months or even 12 months, their website just gets little to no traffic, and then all of a sudden, everything just starts blowing up, and things are kind of like and things are kind of moving at a pretty steady and consistent rate. It's pretty weird, but like you can look this up, but a lot of people are really like kind of like debunk this theory, and it definitely does exist, but Google obviously won't really acknowledge it. It's pretty interesting. But this is kind of what the sandbox period looks like on Google search. So as you can see here, like this is early March 2013, April 13, May, June. So that's like March, April, 3 months right there. And this website's probably been around even longer. But as you can see, it was kind of in that sandbox period for about 3 months right here, where it had like little to no traffic. And then once it got out the sandbox period, it just started getting, its content started being seen in Google search, and started getting like 200, 300, 400 views. Website visits every single day. So this is one example of like the sandbox period. Let's go to another screenshot I found off the forum. So as you can see here, this website, it had just absolutely no traffic at all right here, as you can see. And then all of a sudden, it's like boom, Google just starts showing its content to people on Google search. It's pretty weird, especially when you're averaging like 0 like page clicks a day, and you might get 1 or 2 here and there, then 0, 0, 0, 0, and then all of a sudden 40 to 80. That there is pretty strange, and people think that is the sandbox period right there on Google. Let me show you guys one more screenshot. As you can see, this one here, this website's probably been around like as early as maybe March, April, May, June, July, and like around July. That's when this website started seeing like a spike in website sessions, all the way towards doing like about a couple thousand like every single day, which is absolutely crazy. But as you can see, at the beginning of this year, this website was getting absolutely nothing, and people think this is the sandbox period. So just to kind of give you something to think about it. So Google, it was founded on September 4th, 1998, right? And then it acquired YouTube on November 13, 2006. So Google, Google, they made their whole search engine system, all the back end stuff. They made all of that from scratch, right? Took them many months and years to really develop that and really optimize it to where it is today. Now, when they acquired YouTube, obviously YouTube already had some stuff like some infrastructure built, but for Google, Google is a publicly traded company, and they're always looking to make money both the short term and the long term as well. And the best way to make more money is like, instead of like making new things right up front, just kind of like take what's working at Google and apply it to YouTube, and then and just do that to kind of keep the ball rolling, and then innovate as you go. So that's really where my theory comes to, where I believe where some of the stuff that works with on Google search also works for YouTube as well. And let me show you guys some of these quotes I found on the internet that I thought was pretty appropriate for this case right here. But as you can see, like, the way you do one thing is the way how you do everything. So for example, let's say if your room is messy, right? You probably have a messy life, your schedule's messy, your relationships in life, they're messy, your car is messy, everything is messy, right? Or if let's say if your room is clean, right? Your mind is clean, your relationships are clean, your car is clean. You guys kind of see what I'm saying there, and you guys probably recognize those things in your life as well. That's, and another example, like, let's say with a relationship, right? Someone let's say someone's abusive at work, and our boss is abusive at work to his employees, right? From that, there you could probably assume that he's abusive to his family members, people he comes in contact with day to day, and just like, he kind of carries on that nature with everything he does right there. And another quote I wanted to share is that, like, don't reinvent the wheel, just realign it. And I think both of these quotes there, they really do like reinforce kind of like my theory with like how Google applied some of the things they use for their search engine system, for the YouTube search engine system, so that it's able to function without having controversial stuff arise out of nowhere. There's kind of like some safety nets, and the sandbox period here is one safety net they have on Google. Which brings me to, does YouTube has a sandbox period? And if you were to ask me, I believe it does. And I've been able to kind of like see this like firsthand from like definitely from some of my first YouTube channels, and also some of the current ones I have today, and also by looking at other students that have started their that are growing their YouTube channels, especially fresh channels. Those are the hardest, and I believe they're kind of going through like the YouTube sandbox period. Now YouTube, it kind of has like two sandbox periods. It's weird. So I think there's one for like your channel, and then there's definitely one for your videos. I'm going to go over both of them right here, and hopefully this will make sense for you guys. So why would YouTube have like a sandbox periods for like its channels and its videos? Well, your answer to that will be it's to kind of prevent this stuff from happening right here. Now we're first going to start with like your channels, specifically new accounts. YouTube really doesn't care about your older accounts. It has some protocols in place. We're going to go over that, but let's first go over your new accounts. So YouTube, like I said, it's getting like over 100 hours of video uploaded every single minute, and because of that, it's really hard to regulate stuff. And YouTube really wants to, it absolutely does not want to have this stuff on their website, like spammers, offensive content, hate speech, malware, surveys, hacking, exploiting, not family, kids friendly content. It wants to do everything it can to avoid having this on our website. So really the best way to, I guess, combat that is to kind of have that sandbox period. Now let me show you guys. I think this is yeah, here we go right here. Oh, sorry, I missed that slide right there. So with your new accounts, right, I believe the sandbox period, my theory is, according to the data I've analyzed on some of my channels, and also like student channels I've been reviewing as they've been growing, kind of going throughout the YouTube journey, I noticed that for fresh accounts, they kind of, this sandbox period lasts for the sandbox period lasts if your channel is like under 6 to 12 months old. That's kind of from what I noticed. There obviously are some outliers, some exceptions to this rule, but in general, on average, like around 6 to 12 months, you probably won't see too much traffic on your channel. And just to kind of show you one of my channels I started back in 2016. As you can see here, I created this channel on March 30th, 2016. That was in March. Let's count this off. March, April, May, June, that's my 4-month mark. As you can see, I posted like about 10 videos a year. June, July, and then August, like around August 1st. That's when I kind of started getting momentum in my videos, so I started posting more and more and more. And as you can see right here, my channel just went like, it just absolutely took off to the point where I got almost 250,000 views in one day. And then after that, it's just been kind of uphill from there. And as you can see, like my quote-unquote sandbox period, You know, it lasted for like a few months after creating my channel. Then after I got past that, kind of like that 6 month mark, things started taking off for me, and then all was well, and I got like 7 million views for the remainder of that year, right there. So yeah, this is really just one example. Like I guess like the sandbox period on my channel, and you can pause this video right now and go look at your own channel and just kind of count off the months. You're gonna probably see that it took your channel maybe like on the low end maybe 3 months, at most 12 months to really get some momentum going, to where you get some crazy growth like this here. So that's really what YouTube does for your brand new accounts, to kind of prevent channels like these right here from arising, so that we don't come across situations like these. You guys remember the whole YouTube is facilitating the sexual exploitation of children and it's being monetized? When I think this thing here was like it was in 2019, actually pretty recent, and that just made everybody furious. As you can see right here, 4 million views, and YouTube, it just wants to avoid that. It doesn't want any of this, so it does that by kind of having your brand new accounts going into the sandbox period phase, and according to my data. So yeah, that's really how YouTube that's the sandbox period for channels. If your channel's over 12 months old, you really don't have to worry about this. You're gonna have to worry about this now, the sandbox period for your videos. So the sandbox period for your videos, it works a bit differently. I believe it works in kind of like your feedback loop. If you don't know what a feedback loop is, basically, you got your YouTube video right here, and then once you post your YouTube video, you're going to get feedback from it, right? And this feedback, there's multiple variables to it, but the main 3 ones are your likes, your watch time, and your comments. So lots of likes, that's going to be good feedback. A lot of dislikes, that's obviously going to be bad feedback. If your video has a super high watch time, obviously you're going to get good feedback. If your video has terrible watch time and like 5-second drop-off rates, that's going to be bad feedback right there. And if your video has a lot of comments, right, like real authentic comments, that's considered good feedback in the eyes of the algorithm. But if your video has like little to no comments, especially if it has a lot of views, the algorithm's going to see that as bad feedback right here. Now, as you can see, if you're able to trigger like a lot of good feedback, the algorithm's gonna detect that, and because you're getting good feedback, it's gonna send you more people to your video, and then this cycle just keeps going over and over and over again until you hit your viral video, which is what we want. That's actually what we try to aim for here at Trend Watchers. And then as you can see here, that you can kind of have the opposite thing happen. If you trigger a lot of bad feedback, less people are going to come to your video, and it's going to keep on going. It's going to just keep on going until your video gets reported, taken down, or until YouTube just stops showing your people to stops recommending your video to people, which is what we do not want. Now, I believe this right here, this right here, so this is kind of like my theory for like viral videos. I've collected this data off of a lot of my previous channels and channels I run right now, and also student data. And one thing I noticed is that like for viral videos, this feedback loop, it takes around 7 to 21 days to go through, and I guess like once it's like really once this feedback loop is like moving at like a, what's the word I want to say, like a non-stop repetitive pace, like in a good way, that's when you'll see your viral video take off. And you'll see your video take off within 7 to 21 days. That's for my medium to larger size channels. These are your channels of like with pretty big audiences. Obviously, if you have like 20 million subscribers or so, this may not apply to you. You might be able to get a viral video right off the spot. But as someone who's gotten multiple viral videos, probably at least 15 to 20-ish of them, and those are like 2 million plus view videos I'm talking about, by the way. Like 95% of my viral videos, they did not happen overnight. They happen after a period of time, and this is the period of time I'm kind of talking about right here. So for your medium larger size channels, you're looking at about 7 to 21 days, and for your smaller channels, for this cycle to really start taking off to where you're able to get a viral video, it'll take you around 30 to 90 days, according to my experience, experiments, and also by studying other students right there. So that's one thing I really wanted to point out. But But yeah, when it really comes to, you know, like I guess like, so your brand new accounts, right? So they're gonna have to go through this right here, this sandbox period, and while they're kind of combating this sandbox period, let's say they do happen to get out of it, they also have to combat this right here. But your older accounts, they only have to combat this right here, which is really good. And as we all know, YouTube does this to prevent situations like these from arising. You know, like I said, no one benefits from this situation right here, and it does that by having these two sandbox periods in there. And one thing we know like about these two sandbox periods is that they all kind of revolve around time. And time is really what YouTube uses, and also Google search uses, to kind of separate the fake people from the real people, to really feed out bad content like this right here. And really what we're going to be showing you in the whole Trend Watchers course is really how to take time, combine it with trends, and also video series to so that your channel is able to have exponential channel growth. So yeah, I have a lot of great content prepared, you know, and organized for you guys. And you, in this training course, it's just gonna blow your mind away. But yeah, I hope you guys learned a lot of great things in this video right here, and I'll see you guys in the next training video. See ya.